this weekend. Bob Thompson is on a boat south of Spain. One of our media consultants, he put this up earlier today, though, on the report about the Big 12 and Brett Yormark and what he said yesterday, which we had a lengthy discussion about it. And Patrick Crakes will join us, a former Fox executive, will join us today a little bit after 4 to give us his take. He said, not sure that anything is imminent for Big 12, too early in process, but Pac-12 needs to get a deal done now to provide stability to the conference, and they need to get it done before the Big 12. Otherwise, there may be some wandering eyes from a couple of the corner schools. That's just his opinion. I reached out to Bob. He texted me back. He's, again, enjoying life right now, and we'll most likely get him on at some point if we can at the end of next week.
Got Wi-Fi on those boats, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was wondering about yesterday was, I'm slow to catching on to kind of the bigger message with, the Big 12 possibly getting a deal done. But my whole thing was just like, man, it's weirdly quick. I mean, to just be like, you're not even, you're over a year away from even when you're scheduled to be on the market, and to just turn around and be like, oh, we already got a deal done, or we're going to have it like here in the next couple of weeks. I found that very odd. And, the fact that it's just kind of sticking with who they're sticking with, it makes sense given who those networks are. And I'm cool with that. And I've seen a lot of the speculation about what the money's going to look like and everything. I don't know. It kind of seems like at best it'll be a modest bump, but a bump nonetheless. So that's good. But again, we need to see the final figures there. But I think it's great. Like I'm obviously pro Big 12. So if they've got a deal done, that's fantastic. It just struck me as odd that they would have it this quickly, given that, again, they were nowhere near close to being even in discussions. So I'm very interested to see what this announcement is, and whether it is in the next week or so, and breaking down those numbers and the length of that contract is what will be really interesting in addition to the per school average. But yeah, I'd say as far as agreeing with that, I don't have any idea on when the Big 12 is going to do what they're going to do or what that looks like, obviously. But I do think the Pac's got to look up and go, okay, where are we in this whole thing? Because you've had a pretty significant head start. Like, you've been in this process now for months. Big 12 is still like a year away from when they're even supposed to start. So I don't know what all that means, but obviously Brett Yormark's not playing around, and he's being aggressive, and he's got things in mind as far as what he wants to do, set up, and accomplish. And I think that's great that they have a leader that's as proactive as he is. And, whether some of it's like kind of churning the media waters to create a little something, good, because they haven't had somebody do that ever, basically, for them. And I think him being, as aggressive as he is and applying a little pressure here and there should only, in my opinion, really bode well for the conference. I like that they're showing some attitude, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think breaking it down just means more. What does it mean for the Pac-12 if the Big 12 does, in fact, get their deal done in the next few weeks ahead of the Pac-12 while the Pac-12 is in the open market? Well, it means that ESPN and Fox were happy enough with the Big 12 and are confident enough with the direction of where that league is going to go, given the 12-team playoff expansion and the markets it's going to be in and all of that they're ready to do a deal and lock it up, and they're going to feel good about that for whatever it is. But for the Pac-12, it's just another thing that shows everybody, nobody really knows what the future of that conference is. Now, there's a way forward for them as a conference, but they have to figure that out.
Yeah,
they really do.
So that's that with Bob Thompson. Patrick Crakes, again, will join us. He's been with us before on some of what this means. He'll help maybe break down why wouldn't you wait to the open period? Why would you do this, or what does it matter if Big 12 gets in front of the Pac-12? All of that from his perspective.
Obviously, is streaming important at all in the grand scheme of things? Because it wouldn't appear to be if they're already getting a deal done this quickly, and there's no mention of a streamer being involved, which, I think some of that did get blown out of proportion to just the importance of it. That's why all along I was curious about, like, how much does this really matter? Because I think I said probably 100 times over the summer, like, I'm not keen to go to Amazon to watch the Pac-12 game if that's what you're going to make me do. I'm going to probably sit on my cable, and I know not everybody still has cable, so this is not really a conversation for you, but the majority of people still do. And like myself and my setup, I kind of have to have it the way that I am currently. So, yeah, I wasn't keen on the idea of, hopping from app to app to try to find the college football game that I want to watch versus what I can do now with just going up and down.
Did anybody, and there's a lot of cord cutters out there, but did anybody think that cable wasn't going to fight back? on a lot of this stuff.
For some reason, there seems to be like a very small part that seems to think that, but I don't think most people really have ever bought that it was just going to go away.
Yeah, but I mean, like what they've kind of also done now is morph all this stuff into it's just cable again.
Yeah.
And it's, you can get the app if you sign up for us for our Super Plus plan, whatever it is, you can get all this stuff. So even the apps like Hulu has. They're essentially a cable plan where you're paying for cable. So it's all the same thing. It's just packaged differently. And they were going to fight back. And so they're trying to find ways also to make you go traditional again because networks still matter.
Yeah, they do. And it's also what happens, and it's something that Patrick Craig's may be able to discuss with us as far as what networks you're on. And yes, the streamers, there's some value there and maybe massive at some point. Thursday Night Football, of course, they're spending a lot of money with the NFL. But it's also where you're going to get promoted. And that is a part of it. And I'm sure that Brett Yormark, when they do discuss and talk with Fox and also ESPN, okay, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do. Okay, this is our number. But you need to make sure you're a part of this and promote us like you do everybody else and help us as well. And, of course, it helps the Big 12 needs teams to step up, and some of them have in recent years, over the last several years, in fact.
Yeah.
Toughest up.
I think there's definitely some give and take. The Big 12 has to hold up its end, and like I use the SEC mention, is they got some very significant backing and, straight up propaganda from ESPN in the early 2000s. But why it worked was because, and why we all went with it, was because Alabama and Auburn and Florida and, everybody was winning. LSU were all winning titles back to back to back to back, and Alabama's dynasty started, and you had a full-on SEC national championship game at one point. So it's like you can't argue that they're not the best because look at all the results. But, it certainly helped early on to have that push of being told they're the best. They have the best athletes. They have the most passion. They have the best. We were fed that. And then, you saw the results. So I think if you could get an agreement of some sort with an ESPN or a Fox of present us the way you present others, present us as a top brand. And, then we have to hold up our end of the bargain. I think they're showing right now they've got several teams in the mix, and, that can be a good relationship for both. So I think if they're able to strike with ESPN Fox as it appears, as opposed to their counterpart who's talking, basically online channels and app channels and whatever to find their games, that's a significant win for the Big 12, and that would make total sense to get their deal done this early.
Why wouldn't you promote what you have put investment in, right? I mean, why wouldn't you?
But
all right, tough.